Yes, everyone. Shalom, shalom. This is Joseph Israel here. Just going to look at this part where the Messiah healed the leper. This is an answer to a question that was brought up on the last video that I put out called "Come Out of Christianity." I'm going to pull up this question here and just see exactly what it's talking about here. It says again. It says, let's see here. Here's an easy one for you to answer. Did the Messiah keep the law of Moses according to the cleansing laws in Leviticus? Now, this is an interesting question because it doesn't seem exactly clear. But did the Messiah, for just really quick, did the Messiah keep the law of Moses? Yes. Is it the law of Moses? I beg to differ. It is the Torah of Yehovah. It is the Torah of the creator of the universe. The laws were given to Moses at Mount Sinai, and also, to the book at end of Devarim or Deuteronomy in the 40 years in the wilderness. And these are the basic laws. And basically Deuteronomy goes over a lot of what is in the rest of the Torah, like the book of Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. There's so much to go into. And basically all of it is worthwhile study. And all of it, it's not like you can just read it once and understand it fully. There's so much. This stuff is so deep. These are the instructions of the creator of the universe. This is amazing. And of course, the Messiah was well versed in these things. He was obedient to these things. He said, it said in Matthew 5 here, of course, most everyone that is familiar with this, but it's very misunderstood. And I'm going to read it from the Hebrew Matthew, but you can get basically the same idea from any translation. Almost every translation gets it close, but this is from the Hebrew Matthew, and it really says, at that time, Yehoshua said to his disciples, "Do not think I came to annul the Torah, but to fulfill it." Okay. Well, actually, in the Hebrew, it actually says, "Do not think that I came to divide, to break, or to split apart the Torah." He didn't come to break it. He came to observe it. He came to perform it. And so this is very, very, very important. And the Torah is to be fully observed. He says in verse 18, "Truly I say to you that until heaven and earth depart, not one letter or one dot shall be abolished from the Torah or the prophets, because all will be fulfilled." All will come to pass. So yes, of course. And so when we look at this, it seems like there's a lot of confusion around the Kohanim, the Levitical, the book of Leviticus, the sons of Aaron, and the Levitical priesthood, and all these things. It seems like a lot of people that are putting their faith in the Messiah, the Rabbi of Nazareth, Yehoshua HaMashiach, that we understand. I agree with Kepha or Peter that he is the Mashiach and that he is the son of the living Elohim. I 100% believe this, and yet I do not think he is the Elohim. I do not think he is the creator of the universe in that sense. I think he was created. I think it's very clear in the scriptures that the Messiah was created and was anointed by his Father. His Father is greater than him. His Father is from everlasting to everlasting. The Messiah was created. He was the beginning of the Most High's creation, Revelations 3:14. There's so many things to go into this. In fact, but very, very important. I just want to talk about this really quick because, I mean, we want to really expose, there's a lot of misunderstanding here. And first of all, if you are worshiping Yeshua or Yehoshua, or as Christians call him, Jesus, as your God, this is idolatry. There is absolutely no doubt. The idea that so-called God, even though I don't like that word really, came to earth and manifest as a man, and then died and rose 3 days. I mean, doesn't even make sense. So there's so much to go into on this, and I hope that people, even if that's what you think, that you will approach this with an open mind and review the scriptures, because a lot of people have just taken that idea basically from Christianity and are infusing, they're still reading that into the scriptures. Now, there's no place in the scripture that says you have to accept the Messiah as God. I mean, that's absolutely, the Almighty is not the Messiah. I mean, that's very clear. and I'm going to actually do some more teachings on that at another point. But I just wanted to talk about this because I thought it was actually worthwhile that I should answer this through a video. And so, did the Messiah keep the law of Moses according to the cleansing laws of Leviticus? Okay, the cleansing laws of Leviticus. And then he says, if you say yes, please explain. So I say yes. Please explain how we cleansed, touched a leper, and touched a dead body, which makes him unclean along with the leper. Okay, let's look at this. I'm going to read it from Luke. And then we'll go to Matthew. Of course, it appears in Mark 2. Luke 5:12. On another occasion, while he was in one of the cities, look, there was a man full of leprosy. When he caught sight of Yehoshua, he fell face down and begged him, Master, if you want to, you can make me clean. So stretching out his hand, he touched him, saying, I want to be made clean. Immediately the leprosy vanished from him. Then he gave the man orders to tell no one, but to go and show yourself to the Cohen, to the priest. This is in Jerusalem. This would be, he would have to go through, he would have to find the Cohen and then go through the purification so that he could actually be able to go back into, approach the tabernacle when the festivals came and all those things. Go to the priest and make an offering for your cleansing, just as Moshe directed, for a witness to them. So this is really important because this would let everyone know this leper had been healed. These are the things that are outlined in the scriptures as to how once a leper is purified or healed or cleansed, so to speak, he still has to actually go through a ritual purification in order to be able to approach the tabernacle. And so anyone that came in contact with the leper also would have to become ritually pure again. There was all kinds of things that, just like touching a dead body that was brought out, there were things that would make someone ritually impure. That is not necessarily sin. To become ritually unclean is not sin. What would be sin was to be ritually unclean and then go to the temple, to go into the holy place, to go to the sanctuary. That in Jerusalem, that would be a transgression. So there was ways to approach it. The Almighty gave us the laws of the clean and the unclean and how to purify ourselves if we came in contact with something unclean or if we ended up ritually unclean. It's not, becoming ritually unclean is not a sin. It's how we handle it and these things. So the word that is talking about that I would have you cleansed in the Greek means to cleanse or purify. It's used many times. The word that's used in the Torah in Leviticus is taher, means to be clean or pure, to make or declare ceremonially clean. Okay, so to be clean ceremonially, to be clean morally, people made clean. So they can have different understandings and slightly different meanings, but basically we want to be clean morally and we want to be clean ceremonially is when we are approaching the temple. Like today, since there's no temple on this earth, some of these things, you're not going to be transgressing the holy place if you don't go to the Levitical priests and do exactly what they say here, because these aren't even actually, it's not applicable in that sense, because in the time of the first century, this would have to be followed. And if there was another temple, these would also in the future, and we want to approach the holy place, these would also be followed. Now, just to say, let's go to Matthew. Actually, let's go to Matthew and see what he says. I'm going to read it in the Hebrew Matthew. I just like it a little better. So the leper came to him. The man said, Master, are you able to heal me? This is the Hebrew. I'm not going to translate it word for word. Just going to keep it simple. Yehoshua stretched out forth his hand and touched him, saying, so that's brother saying this would make him unclean. In that sense, ceremonially unclean. It wouldn't make him a sinner, though. It's actually good to heal. This is what the Most High would want. This is righteous. But the Messiah himself would have to purify himself before he went back into the temple based on the law of Moses, which is really the law of the Creator. Yeah. So the Messiah said, I wish that you to be cleansed. And in that hour, the leper was cleansed from his leprosy. Then Yehoshua said to him, be careful lest you tell any man, but go to the Cohen to offer your gifts as Moses commanded in your Torah. So this is a great instruction. This is obedience to the Torah. He was able to to heal. He wanted the Kohanim to understand. In fact, many of the Kohanim in his time actually became believers. And we find that in the book of Acts. And many of the believers were ardent for the Torah, it says in Leviticus 21. I mean, in Acts 21. We also find that like Shaul in the book of Acts, Paul, he did purification before he went to the temple. He was obedient to the Torah of Moses. It was actually a lie and false witnesses saying that the apostles and disciples of Yehoshua of Nazareth were breaking and teaching people to break the commandments that were given to Moses, that were given to Israel. In fact, he's here to fulfill them. He's here to give them meaning, and he's here to perform them. He's here to do them, and we're here to do them. We're here to understand them. And so it's really should be clear and understood that he supported the law of Moses. And when the man was healed, this is what would be done. If we go to Leviticus chapter 14, and it says here, and Jehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, "This shall be the Torah, or of the leper." That says ritual in the JPS, but it's just really the Torah in the Hebrew. It's actually in the Hebrew, it's hatorato, ta hatorato. So, or actually, no, Torat. There we go. The Torat of the leper when he is to be cleansed. Okay, to be cleansed is to be. That's what I was reading earlier. Taharato, and that means to be pure. When he is to be cleansed, basically, when it has been reported to the Kohen. So this is when, after the Messiah cleansed the man, it had to be reported to the Kohen. The priest should go outside the camp. If the priest sees that the leper has been healed of his scaly affection, the priest will see, wow, he's been healed. Okay, the word healed is exactly what the Messiah did to him. The Messiah helped cure him. This leper, had been healed here in the Torah, and this is what the priest would check him out and be like, wow. So the Kohen would order 2 live clean birds, cedar wood, crimson stuff, hyssop to be brought for him who was cleansed. And then it goes into exactly what would happen. And then it's just skipping down here for time. You can read it for yourself. Leviticus 14. He shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed of the eruption. Cleanse him, and he shall set the live bird free in the open country. Then the one is to be cleansed. He shall wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, bathe in water. Then he shall be clean. And after that he may enter the camp, but he must remain outside his tent 7 days. On the 7th day he shall shave off all his hair of head, beard, eyebrows. When he has shaved off all his hair, he shall wash his clothes and bathe his body. On the 8th day he shall take 2 male lambs without blemish, 1 ewe of the first year without blemish, 3/10 of a measure of choice flour with the oil mixed in for a meal offering, and 1 log of oil. These shall be presented before Jehovah with the man to be cleansed at the entrance of the tent of meeting by the Kohen who performs the cleansing. All right, so there's a lot. This is deep. And just ultimately, this is what happened. The man, after the Messiah healed him, he was to go perform this. The Messiah he told the man to go do this, obey the law. So even the high priest would have to have purification before he could go to serve in the temple. And all the Levites, when they would go serve in the temple, they weren't serving the temple all the time. The Levites, they actually had different months where they would serve. And the basic everyday Israelite wasn't going to the temple every day. They would go, and there was 3 times a year that all the men in Israel had to show up. At that point, they had to be ritually, ceremonially clean, or taher. They had to be pure in that sense. And of course, we work on the deeper levels of purifying ourselves. And just there's a lot to consider in all these things. But absolutely, the Messiah, he obeyed the Torah. And the Messiah, once he healed the man, had the man obey the Torah. And so we see here, it all works together, one harmonious understanding. Now, this is the beautiful thing. One doesn't cancel out the other. That's the beautiful thing here. The Messiah coming is not the end of anything. It is actually, a new beginning, the renewal of everything. Because now Israel will again flourish. Now the children of the Almighty will be able to serve him in a way that's pleasing to him. He's going to form his organization. He is going to make a place that people will be able to understand the truth. I mean, this doesn't have to be necessarily a physical place right now, but we are all coming together. People are Sabbath keeping. People are seeking the truth. People are wanting to understand about the kingdom. These things are so important, brothers and sisters. These things are so important for us to look deep into what's going on, to be a kingdom, as it brought out last week in the Torah portion, Yitro, the Israel in the past, they were to be a kingdom, of Kohanim, a kingdom of priests. They were to be his holy nation, his Kadosh nation. This is so important, brothers and sisters. So this is not a religion. This is a nation. He is calling his people to come out of Babylon. We have all inherited untruths from this world. We've been raised in the world. So we got to come out of all religions and seek the truth. And the Torah is truth. It's very clear. Psalms 119. If you have any questions about how beautiful the Torah is, just read Psalms 19 and pray the prayer that, like King David prayed in there, that the Almighty would open our eyes to reveal the hidden things of his Torah. It's so important. Brothers and sisters, just wanted to share this message and encourage everyone to seek with an open mind and let the truth be revealed. And just thanks for tuning in to our YouTube channel here. Please like, subscribe, and continue to be blessed. Yah love and keep. Shabbat shalom.